All right, welcome to the Legendary Upside YouTube channel. My name is Pat Crane. You can content at legendaryupside.com. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late here. Draft already kicked off. Had a couple issues getting the stream started, but we're here now. And yeah, throw your questions in the chat. Just going to be me for this one. Took CeeDee Lamb at 104. If you watched the stream earlier today with Jacob Sanderson, took Gibbs out of the 103. So figured I'd mix it up there, pass on Gibbs, take Lamb. Obviously, both guys extremely appealing. Took Lamb last night with Sean Siegel. Recommend checking that stream out. That was a ton of fun. If you want to see more high-stakes streams we're doing right after this, or not right after this, but a couple hours from now, doing a high-stakes main event with Ben Gretsch. It'll be me, Pete Overzet, and Ben Gretsch, ship-chasing crew back together and doing, high-stakes main event. We're out of the 2-hole there, so that'll be fun. Hope to see you guys over on that stream later. But yeah, we're off here. Kind of always hoping to get Bowers on the wrap. That's the dream always on DraftKings. You can see he's at the top of the sidekick here. I've done a bad job of mentioning this at the beginning of streams. This QR code here on the side takes you over to DraftKings, and they're offering a $20 bonus ticket for this tournament if you enter it. And Sidekick subscribers, Sidekick, the dynamic rankings tool that you see here on the side, can also get a $20 bonus ticket. Check out the Sidekick at legendaryupside.com/sidekick. And you can get the bonus ticket by giving me your DraftKings username and entering this tournament. Legendaryupside.com/perks is where you fill out the form that I need to send your stuff over to DraftKings. But yeah, as a DraftKings best ball partner, this has been my 5th stream this week. So a ton of great content on the channel for DraftKings Best Ball Week. And yeah, we can dive into questions. Well, let me pick first. So Bowers will be the number one option here for me for sure. And then Achane would probably be my number 2, given my low exposure to him. It's kind of a personal thing where I just have not drafted much Achane, and now he's available at much cheaper. So I'm trying to buy the dip a little bit, even though it is, it does come with some risk here. So Bowers goes. Let me see what the. Yeah, okay. No real update here on DraftKings. Didn't practice. I am going to take Achane, and now I could try to push him around the wrap. I don't think he'll come all the way back to 28 though, and I just don't have much Achane, so I like trying to get him at a bit of a discount. What did Achane do to me? I just took him, man. I don't know. What's you saying? I'm biased against him? I took him. All right. 49ers now have 2 players that got shot and returned to play in the same season. Yeah. Lots of they got to come out to many men jokes. There's yeah, it's the vibes are, I guess, high because both guys came back very successfully from gunshots. Who loves Fannin more, me or Siegel? Yeah, so this is where the offseason turns, right? Early, and I mean like a week ago, I was begging Davis, Jacob, Pete, can we please take Fannin? Getting made fun of, oh, wow, you want to draft a backup tight end? Come on. So you go from that to swing to now I've got to defend my corner, right? Now, freaking Marlowe, Sean Siegel coming over. Now I'm getting bounced. I'm not even the Fannin guy anymore. So it's been a bit of a kind of head spinning couple days for me. So we could go Tyreek. I honestly kind of like the Tyreek Achane thing. They feel very correlated in like the outcomes. The seasons that you need for the Dolphins are pretty similar. You need a healthy Tua. You need them to get back to more efficiently attacking downfield, which I think actually unlocks some efficiency for Achane as a runner. And he's still going to get plenty in the receiving game. I just wrote up his legendary season. It's not super implausible. I think it really depends on him just getting absolutely fed as a receiver, but he got fed last year. And I only gave him 13 attempts per game and he still was able to hit 23 points per game. So with a bit of a discount here on both players, comfortable betting on the bounce back season for the Dolphins. But that's what I think it is. It's not so much like he becomes an absolute workhorse runner or something. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But he gets back to being really efficient on the ground and has an even better version of last year's receiving heavy role. Then yeah, I think he could turn in a legendary season. And at 209, you don't even need him to turn in 23 PPR points per game. Like if he hits 21, you're still pretty psyched. And he can do that with kind of last year's receiving role, plus more rushing efficiency. So yeah, this discount makes it easier to click him for sure. Were you moved at all by Pearsall's preseason performance? I honestly don't really care about the preseason performances. Like we've just been fooled so many times. I mean, like if you were doing like a week 3 draft, how much would you put on like a cool week 1 play? Like we don't. It's like the sample's so small, and what the coaches are looking for is kind of like different than what we're looking for, right? They're trying out specific concepts and stuff. Like I don't know. I just think it's so noisy. I care a lot more about like who's playing with the starters and stuff like that. Now that's all been very positive for Pearsall, so I'm not taking that away from him. But I'm just not particularly swayed by how good guys look in the preseason. Unless like a guy looks bad and then he sees less reps, or a guy looks really good and then he sees more reps with the starters. That's like, okay, guy's creating momentum. He's building, he's putting together a training camp, an off season that's actually going to get him more opportunity in week 1. But yeah, I think we can use last year and prospect profiles and stuff as more predictive for how good these guys are. Is Garendo dead? Yeah, I think he's kind of dead, at least for best ball. I would say like what you have is probably enough. Is one way to think through the Garendo thing. Like we can say, oh, he's dead and be wrong and still not have it be a great spot to add, because like I've drafted Garendo and I was mostly fading him. I'm sure you've drafted him too. Like if Garendo hits, I've got those teams, but I'm not going to be adding more to Garendo because I think Robinson is the starter. He's not the starter. He's the backup ahead of Garendo to begin the year, most likely, given that Garendo's been banged up. And then maybe he holds that job. And obviously, it's all contingent anyway. McCaffrey's probably dominating. McCaffrey's been awesome in camp. How do you feel about these ADP movements? Feels like every team drafted has bad price players. Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about like if you're saying the player prices are bad compared to where they were before. Like, I just don't think that matters that much, given how chaotic the playoffs are in these tournaments. All right, so we've got Terry McLaurin here at the top. Daniels is gone. Brees is my guy here. I got him in the 5th today, though. And that was really fun. Could try that again. I took Pickens earlier. We could do the Pickens double. Do we want to do the Dolphins double and the Dallas double? Maybe we do. Let's do it. We'll do both. Oh, no. Brees Hall. Look at that. Oh, no. I timed out on Brees Hall. I was getting flamed in the comments of the last video, or one of the videos I did recently about Hall. People aren't with me on the Hall train, which I get. Like, I think if you're out on Hall, then don't let me convince you to draft him, because you're going to be pissed off at me in week 3, and I don't really want to deal with it. If you're a believer in Hall and you're willing to fight through some really painful usage early in the season, then welcome aboard. You're fighting the good fight. But I do think, like, I believe the preseason usage. I think it's going to be gross. I think he dusts these guys by the end of the year, but we'll see. So Terry's here. I don't mind Terry in the 5th round. Feels like a little bit. Yeah. Terry in the 5th round is nice. I think Devontae Smith, Sutton, Hunter, all good here. But Hunter is alive to come back because of does he still have the Q tag? Yeah, he still has the Q tag. So Hunter legitimately could come back. I'm going to take Terry here. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the prices change. Like in this team, I've got cheap Brees, cheap Hill, cheap HN, cheap Terry McLaurin. But then I'll probably reach, right? I'll have I might have a Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or something like that, and like reach way above where he was going. I think it's fine. I'm more interested in the guys who like weren't being drafted at all and trying to tack them on late. Let's see. How dead is Jordan James? Dead. Again, like it's possible that maybe Jordan James does something at the end of the season. But why would you make that bet now? I've got big board. Honestly, kind of a bag of him in the big board, unfortunately. That's very likely not going to work. But if it does, then my big board teams are good. Ibuka or Golden? Seems like Ibuka has moved a lot more. But what about when What about when Godwin comes back? Wouldn't Golden be better at that point? I think people are reacting to the camp that he's had, which has been so bullish. And I think Ibuka was always a safer prospect. And then with the camp that he's had and Godwin missing the beginning of the season, you get this combo where there's safety to the profile where like this dude's going to earn targets. Sean Siegel last night was kind of talking about how his after the catch stuff is concerning, and maybe he's kind of like a Tyler Lockett-y type of dude ultimately. Not much yak, but I think that's still could. I mean, Lockett's paid off this kind of price tag repeatedly, so I think where he goes, if he is like a Tyler Lockett type talent, like great, not the highest ceiling, not like a future top half of the first round type of receiver, but I think someone that can be pretty sweet as a rookie. Golden has always been a bit more boom bust. He's had a strong camp too, but I just feel a little bit safer clicking Ibuka, and then he's also rocketed up more. So between the two, I would take Ibuka easily, but partly because I know, I'm deciding between Ibuka and Golden. Like it's so much easier for me to get Golden than Ibuka. Where I don't want to take Ibuka here. Like him going 503 strikes me as kind of wild. So yeah, if I was at, let's say, the 601 and I was deciding between the two of them, I would definitely take Ibuka, kind of respecting the market there. And then also I kind of agree with the market that he's the better bet. Okay. Tyreek feels such a tough click right now, but could also look back in October and wonder, yeah, I agree. I mean, he's someone in the third round, and I like having him as wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1, because we know that he can be just an absolute monster in PPR, and if he gets back to that, it's kind of like, I got a first round receiver. I took him in the third round, and I pair him with Bowers. I pair him with Gibbs. That was the start that I had this morning with Jacob, and this is fun too, right? You get Achane and Hill. You get kind of like the Dolphins offense flowing through these two guys, both at a big discount. God damn, Hunter goes. That is a bummer. I don't think I want to triple up. Nah, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, the sidekick's kind of like, you could do it, but I don't know. How many teams are going to have this? You want to talk about unique. How many teams are going to have all 3 Dolphins and both Cowboys? It's pretty, and then a Terry McLaurin bring back on the Cowboys. That's, I don't know. I think I might have something pretty unique here. All right. Waddle at pick 69 is wild. What a sight, man. This is great. This is great. We got David Montgomery coming back here, Olave, Jennings. I'd probably be Olave, Montgomery, Jennings is I think where I'm at. My wide receiver 5 or my running back 3, because I've got Brees and Achane. So there goes Olave. Jennings honestly is live to come back, and if not, like Jordan Addison might come back, which I'm not the biggest Addison guy, but I like him in the 8th for sure. Yeah, wide receiver just a little easier to get than running back in this range. So going to go Montgomery, and looking at 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers through 7. So reviewing quickly: CeeDee Lamb, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, and David Montgomery. Got the sorry, I thought I had the Cowboys double, but it was Hall after all. So not the Cowboys double, just the Miami triple. I guess that's probably better. I don't know. It's more fun to have the Cowboys double and the Miami triple. All right. How do you feel about Warren nowadays? Tyler Warren or Jalen Warren? Tyler Warren, I feel like, is a little overpriced, I think, just like how good the wide receiver competition is, but I could see that being wrong. I could see that looking bad. He's had an awesome camp. I don't think he was like an elite tight end prospect, just a I would say a very good one, but not that kind of Bowers level by a decent margin. So I've had trouble getting as excited about him given the quarterback situation. Jalen Warren, I'm into in the 8th. I think he's ahead of Caleb Johnson, and I think he's a good back. He's a versatile back. He's a good runner. Jacob was making a point that if Kenneth Gainwell's involved, that probably hurts Jalen Warren. I think it hurts both backs because Arthur Smith does what Arthur Smith wants to do, and I would not put it past him to have Kenny Gainwell involved all year, hurting both guys. But yeah, Warren in the 8th, I'm kind of viewing him as kind of maybe a bit more locked in version of like the Tyrone Tracy bet, or probably a little less high upside in the beginning of the season, but more locked in for the beginning of the season as well. And then maybe a better version of the Ramondre Stevenson bet. I guess I'd put it that way, or kind of a J.K. Dobbins type bet as well. He's definitely more of like the chaperone archetype. But yeah, if you need that guy, I like him as a version of that. Fannin is such a click that I wasn't making when he's free. Feels terrible. Chad, he's still basically free. You're still getting him. I mean, I reached for him in like the 15th, the 16th. Like, it doesn't matter. You can go down and you're getting guys in the 17th, 18th, 19th that, used to be a little higher. People have 20th round Fannin, but they have 15th round Jalen Noel or 13th round Jack Besh. It doesn't matter. I would say don't let that dampen your fun. Click Fannin to your heart's content. Yeah, this is on the Pearsall stuff. They're building the passing offense through Ricky Pearsall. Brock is feeding him. Yeah, I mean, I would certainly hope so, right? Like, they don't have anybody else there. Ayuk's not there. Jennings is not there. Like, yeah, they're building it through him. We'll see. We'll see how good he is. That's what's ultimately gonna determine if this hits. I'm a little skeptical of the current price. I like playing it through Jennings in the 8th now on DraftKings if I can get that. Pearsall in the 5th, it just feels a little bit too expensive to me. I wish I had more Pearsall when he's cheaper for sure. I definitely feel like I missed the boat there, but I'm just not that comfortable chasing him up. I wasn't a huge Pearsall prospect guy. I actually really took a lot of him in best ball last year because I just was like, this draft capital is way too underpriced. But it's similar to how I'm still drafting Jack Besh because I think the draft capital is underpriced. I'm not like a huge believer. It's just if draft capital is too cheap, I take it. So Dak Prescott here locks up the stack. I don't see a ton of opportunity cost by doing this. Godwin's popping up. We can push Godwin for sure. I could probably get the quarterback around the turn here, but I don't know. I don't see. It just feels like I'm getting cute. What am I gaining? I don't really care about Godwin. He's fine. He'll be a little bit ahead of ADP though. I like Downs. Caleb Johnson at this price is pretty nice. I definitely do that. JCM probably not coming back, but the 9th, 8th certainly don't need to do it. 9th, a little bit of a reach. Jaden Reed's here. Yeah, that's nice. Cooper Kupp. So I'm probably grabbing one of these receivers. Definitely feel good about pushing receiver a couple rounds because my wide receiver 5 will still be pretty strong. Let's see how this plays out. For me, do you move differently than other NFL athletes like Henderson? I mean, Henderson is jumping off the screen, so I'll give you that. If a guy looks like that, that's bullish. But Henderson is so much higher than he used to be, And so you're really paying for that. Where I'm just like, I don't want to pay for that. I want to be ahead of that. I want to predict, based on the numbers and the the, the scouting reports and everything coming in. Like this dude looks like he might be a superstar. Other people are going to wait and see it. So I'm gonna load up on Henderson when he's going in the 6th round, which is what I did. And now when he's in like the 4th, where did he go here? Yeah, early 4th. I'm kind of letting other people have him there. I think people are going to be pretty disappointed with his early season role. Not that he's like a terrible pick there, because I think the early season role stuff gets overrated a bit, but there's going to be some unhappy Henderson drafters in week 2. All right. So, man, Downs is here. I've definitely scooped some Downs. Or no, sorry, Downs goes. I've definitely scooped some Godwin, is who I was actually talking about. But he's got the out tag still. I'm basically wondering if I should just take Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, because he's the guy today. Yeah. Merritt's the guy who's like definitely not coming back off of the Robinson trade. DraftKings drafters usually pretty up to speed on news stuff. Godwin obviously didn't get put on PUP, so that's boosted him up a bit. But I'm going to take JCM and play the ADP game a little bit with a chance for Godwin to actually come back, given that he's got an ADP of 113 and the out tag, and my next pick's 117. So if I want Godwin, I think he can probably make it back to me. And if not, there's other options. I got Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk, and my guy Luther Burden, who goes so late here. If I want to, I can probably push him. I mean, I might be able to get him at 141, but at 124, I could probably get Burden. So we now have 4 running backs: Montgomery and Krosky Merritt with Achane and Hall. Got the Dak Prescott single stack to CeeDee Lamb, the bring back with Terry McLaurin, and we have the triple Dolphin build here. So pretty fun. Oh, of course, JCM also a bring back. So I've got that game very nicely stacked. Pat, I feel you will be on the wrong side of Pearsall this year, but also the preseason stuff doesn't matter at all. That's how you win me over. Confirming what I think about preseason, but then also telling me I'm wrong on a player. I definitely could see, like, the Pearsall one. I'm definitely very open to the idea that I'm wrong. I think I am wrong. Like, I've been proven wrong about how to play him when he was going in like the 7th round, because I wasn't really taking him there, and now he's going in the 5th round. So that's bad. I didn't think the calf thing would matter for as long as it has. I didn't think the calf thing would pop up, right? When I was joking around that Juwan Jennings signed a document that he's mad, it's because he was actually practicing at training camp and he was out there. And then he, for whatever reason, the contractor actually being hurt, he's no longer there, and that really helps Pearsall. So that part, I think I've already been proven wrong on. But how do you play it now that he's in the 5th? I can kind of chase it up, or I can double down. I'm doubling down, given the opportunity cost in the 5th. Like, I don't know, man. Like, to me, like, you're taking Ricky Pearsall over Travis Hunter. I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. Could it burn me? Yeah. But like, he's about to go over Devontae Smith and stuff. Like, no, not doing it. It did definitely burn me. Still not doing it. For months on DK, if I didn't take Fannin, he wasn't getting picked. His total percentage has to be fairly. Yeah, it's probably pretty low. I don't know, maybe about half. But it might be lower than that, because this is one that's tough for me to do, because I'm like, well, I took him every time. So it can't be less than half. But yeah, maybe it's like 30%. Are you in Pearsall breakout now? I'm definitely yeah. There's a couple that I've gotten dragged kicking and screaming onto, like Jameson Williams, but I'm still holding strong on Pearsall breakout denial for sure. Garrett Wilson in the 4th, Brees in the 5th on DK. Yeah, Garrett's falling, man. Garrett's falling to the 4th. I think it's good. I think it's really good to grab him there. Where did he go here? Where did he go here? Oh, he went at 401, so not a huge discount. Chris Godwin does come back. Look at that. I think he's good here. Tua obviously is pretty important to the build. Not something we have to do way ahead of his ADP though. So Godwin coming back, and he's a bring back on the Dolphins stuff. So I've got that game stacked up now. Tua jumping on the top of the sidekick. This is saying this guy is the most important dude for your team. Kind of a don't drop the baby type of thing where if you want to push it, all good, but you're going to have to kind of make that decision. This is the guy the Sims are telling me is the most important guy for the team. He adds the most value. So does he come back to 141 is the big question. I mean, no one really has a Dolphin other than me, because I've got all three. So I can try and push it. It's super frustrating if I don't get him, though. I'll tell you that. I'm not going to be happy about it. My opportunity cost is Luther Burden, basically. But Burden comes back. So between the two, Burden is close to Tua in his likelihood of coming back, I would say, from my experience. This says 22%, Burden 53%, but Burden comes back at a decent rate here, I think. I think it's a bit higher than the model. And I've got 5 receivers. I think I'm just going to take Tua and do the prudent thing here. Now, because not only do I have the 3 Dolphins, but I have the bring back. I've got the Dak bring back too. I don't have like a ton of other stacks set up. I would be like doing Burden, and then maybe I'd be able to get no. Yeah, Caleb's long gone. So I don't see what else I would do. What else I'd do there. All right, let's look at some other questions. Yeah, people wondering about. I've been higher on Jawan. Yeah, I'm still into Jawan, but I have been pushing him into the 7th and on Underdog, and now into the 8th on DraftKings. The longer this goes, the more concerned I get, for sure. Do you think through player combos when you draft a riser, like more likely to draft the Commander's backs when you take a Buka in the 5th? I don't tend to think about combo risers that much. I don't know. I mean, I think like you want the guys who are gonna be the guys. I think that's by far the most important thing. If you're just chasing steam on a bunch of guys, I guess my main concern would be that it's just a bunch of hype trains that aren't going to materialize. Not so much about, that you took a bunch of guys ahead of ADP, but I suppose it could be something to think about. Like if you're doing a big reach on a Buka and then a big reach on Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, maybe that's not so great to have, especially in tandem with other big reaches. Not something I've put a ton of thought into, to be honest, but yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm just not that swayed by the uniqueness stuff. Outside of some things like, drafting guys who literally haven't been drafted in the tournament. I think that's cool. Christian Helmers was on the other day, and he was, kind of saying like he wants to get unique with like pieces that he feels really strong about. So like he's taking a bunch of Puka, and part of the reason he's doing that is because then he gets to take a high conviction play and get uniqueness around that, as opposed to like his uniqueness coming from dart throws, which is an interesting point. I just don't know that the uniqueness element is something that we have as much control of as it feels like we do, because of the cut downs in this tournament. Like if this was a sprint type of tournament where you do the final 3 weeks and you're competing against the teams who have the guys who crushed in week 15 and 16, and you need to outscore them in week 17 with a lot of the same players, then I think uniqueness becomes more important. But because of the way that teams get bounced, like there's not going to be that many teams with your build, kind of whatever your build is in week 17, unless you happen to like land on the chalk. But that chalk's going to be formed in week 15 and 16 based on who spikes then, right? And that can be, you could have a unique first round, second round combo, but if you have the same third, fourth, and fifth round picks that got everybody else there, you're still holding hands with the players who got you there. So, yeah, I don't know. That's where my head's at on it. After Lamb, that's 4 bad vibes picks in a row. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know what? What if the vibes are wrong? Bad vibes equals discount. Why is Gibbs a top 5 pick? His upside comes only when Montgomery gets injured, right? No, I don't think so. I think his upside comes through John Morton, new offensive coordinator, tweaking the offense and having it run more through a player who is vastly superior to David Montgomery in every way at this point. You lose when you have Montgomery on the field over Jahmyr Gibbs at this point in their careers. So that's where your upside comes from, is that he takes a step forward in playing time. And then obviously he has the massive contingent value, but he can get there with Montgomery healthy. Too much missing the forest for the trees with the Ibuka situation. It's always a talent bet. Yeah, but I think the talent is good there. I think he's a little too expensive now, but I like the talent bet with him. All right, so we get Trey Benson. Sam Darnold is in the mix here, but he's a bit of a reach. Burden, none of these receivers came back, so that's a bit of a bummer, right? I'm not missing Burden here on the sidekick, am I? No, yeah, he gone. So I'm going to take Benson, and yeah, Darnold popping as a third quarterback. Let me see if Torrey's here. Yeah, and he has a Q tag, so that would be a nice fun little stack there. With Prescott and Tua, not the worst thing to have another quarterback. Certainly would be able to survive. Would like to be able to survive if Tua were to miss a few games. Although having the 3 Dolphins makes that harder. Let's see. Penix available. Yeah, there's other quarterbacks though. I don't see the need really to force Darnold here. Let's see. Ayuk's still here at pick 41, pick 148, ADP of 141. I might grab that. Let's see. There goes Ayuk. Okay. Thornton's here. Spears, Taylor. Yeah, you can see like it gets to the point too where like draft to draft, the recommendations kind of flip around in this range. Like it's pretty flat. I might go Bryce Young, who's a little bit more backstackable, or I could also go Cam Ward. What if that feels like a little higher upside? And Jacob sold me today on Imanor a bit. I'm going to do Cam Ward here, and so get a little off the psychic wreck there, but I think in a fun way. And I'm going to throw in Imanor, get rid of Darnold, get rid of Horton, get rid of Bryce. So yeah, throw in a little bit of the upside quarterback, and we're looking at let's see, 165 is my next pick, so I can easily get a Conquo there. Yeah, I think that's fun. Let me just clear this out. All right. How much exposure is too much exposure to late round picks? Like if someone has 47% Bill in the 18th, 19th, is that too much? I mean, if you asked me like a month ago if that's too much, I'd be like, yeah, man, it's a 7th round pick. Like maybe mix it up. Obviously, no, it's not too much now. Like, I wish that was 67%, right? Those late round picks they're scratch offs. So I would take a win like Bill 100 times out of 100. Like, seriously, like if you told me I have 100% 19th round Bill, I'd I wouldn't lower it by one team. You know, they're just those picks aren't worth that much, and you get an absolute smash there. So it's really about risk management, because a lot of times those picks aren't going to hit, and we don't we it's hard to have much confidence about them. So it's about kind of how you got to the mega high percentage, I guess, as opposed to, you know, now wishing you had diversity with Bill. Yeah, no, I appreciate. I like these. I like these streams. They're fun. Um, I feel like RJ Harvey is one of the most mispriced players. Are people actually concerned about Dobbins? Yeah, man, I completely agree. Uh, he should be rising, and really hasn't. You know, let's look at where he went here. He went. This is okay, but like the difference between Henderson and Harvey is kind of extreme now. I don't think there should be that big of a gap. I think he's a really good pick. Let's see. If you really want to get unique, yeah. Well, this is. I mean, where are my uniqueness bros at here? Zach Wilson with the stack. What's the functional difference between Tyler Warren and Colson Loveland, other than one getting steamed up 4 rounds? I think there is a functional difference in the beginning of the season. I think that Warren is going to have like 80, 85 maybe percent route participation, and Loveland will be at like 50. But I think he pretty quickly gets up to, 70. Maybe 50 is low, but he's going to split with Kmet. So I'd probably put the line at like 60% over under. But I put Warren's at like 75, the over under. I might even put it at like 79. So I think you're getting Warren more playing time. So that's part of the bet. But then you get the quarterback play and the offense and everything, and that swings over to Loveland. So I do agree. I think overall, kind of, there shouldn't be as big a gap. You were so on Warren last year. What if he pairs efficiency with volume? I am taking Warren. I'm not quite as hyped because he wasn't that great last year, and I think that changes the bet a bit. So Okonkwo's like a few guys down here, but I think it's a little bit more fun to grab him. Dylan Sampson's also here. That feels like kind of a, let's see. I feel like I have a decent amount of running. I have 5 running backs. Took HM, but Sampson's fun. Sampson feels like worth pushing Okonkwo for, given that I have other tight end options. And then, yeah, I don't have a tight end yet, so this could get ugly quick. But of course, we have Fannin as an out, and throw Taylor, Jonnu in the queue. So I went off the sidekick, which was pushing me to tight ends, and given that I don't have a tight end, I was probably right to take a tight end. But Sampson definitely wasn't coming back. So now we've got some real upside at running back that I think is fun. Achane, Brees, Montgomery, Krosky, Merritt, Benson, Sampson. I do think about this sometimes. I'm not sure like what it matters really, but it is fun when you take Lamb over Gibbs and then take Montgomery, I did bet against Gibbs already, so then I get Montgomery. Just kind of it's fun. Just seems fun. It's probably not that important of a tactic, but I get a kick out of it. Get your guys, Sizzin, Horton, Coker, Fannin, etc. Yeah, I'm with you. Can you please explain why I'm getting recommended the sidekick Kendre Miller now? Because he does look to be the backup, and they didn't trade for Robinson. So I think he's on the menu. And he has not been drafted at all. So if he is something, potential differentiation, and the Kamara gets injured, he does something in the playoffs, that could be pretty helpful. I share some of your skepticism on Kendre Miller as a player, but that's why. Godwin falls like a rock on DK. Oh wow. Okay, so we're a little bit behind on the comments here, but yeah, you were right. Have you moved up Mike Evans at all? Yeah, I mean Mike Evans, we've definitely moved up a bit over the course of the offseason, kind of incrementally, nothing like big. Geez. Okay, so no, not like compared to this, no. But I take him, in the late third, and you'll see him in the sidekick there. Arizona has 12 dome games plus a game at Tampa Bay. Is it worth bumping them up when building stacks? I don't personally. I'm not taking Arizona more because of them playing in a dome. Right, you're like it's like, is Kyler actually going to run more? That's what I'm trying to think through more there, or are they going to be more creative with Marvin Harrison? Right, or like how easy the schedule, I think, is probably more important than where the schedule's played. But 12 dome games is nice. I'll give you that. How much Jennings do I have? Let me pull up that. It's not extreme, but it's not nothing either. I'll tell you that. I probably kept taking him too long during the fall. I probably should have cooled off and made myself push him around the turn sooner than I did. But yeah, I'm at 21% Jennings. So he's like my 5th highest drafted receiver. But I am kind of cooling off. In the same boat with Pearsall. I hope you mean with me, as opposed to yet another person that thinks I'm wrong. Isn't there data that shows even without 2, it's still plus EV to have that kind of stack? Yeah, I think I'm not sure of the exact data you mean, but that does feel right to me, that you're betting on it. You get the season long correlation even if you don't have to. So Dolphins good. Yeah. Better with quarterback, but no, I mean, you're just like, the Dolphins are good. You have the Dolphins, they're crushing every week. You can replace the quarterback points easily enough. It's still good. Best Big Gorilla, best high stakes to start with. I mean, yeah, I like used to be, the football guys and the fantasy pros, and now it's the Big Gorilla over at FFPC. I think it's pretty good. What I would say always is, you are managing those leagues. Waivers are a grind. So, I wouldn't bite off more than I can chew waivers wise there. But if you're trying to dip your feet in the high stakes waters, I think a Big Gorilla or two is a pretty good way to go for sure. All right. So the sidekick is screaming that it's time for tight ends, which very clearly is. At the same time, I do want to try to get Imanor. I think I can get Fannin. Let's see, what am I in? 16. So Fannon's the dude, like, build-wise. I'm going to be so sad if we don't have Harold Fannin on this team, given the punt tight end nature. Because I've got a Okonkwo, and now Fannin is my only tight end. So if I lose Imanor, I've got Ward stacked with Okonkwo, and I don't really even need the stack there. I've got Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I've got the Dolphins. I've got like the whole Dolphins. I've got Terry McLaurin and Ja'Cory Cross-Camara at bringbacks. I've got Chris Godwin bringbacks. Like, week 17 is stacked up. So like, I'm almost dead if I need Imanor, as the stack, like, because I have Ward, right? I mean, it's just another out. I'd like to get it, but I think the structure is more important there. And these tight ends are really, really drying up. So glad I took Fannin. Just, if you're going to punt tight end, I really want to have Fannin. Elico Imanor does go, so punished a bit for doing the right thing. No good deed goes unpunished. Poor me. All right, Dalton Schultz. I think I'm going to do after that. And this is also probably a 4 tight end build. So Schultz is like, it doesn't look like he has total lock on the job there. It's going to be kind of like rotating with Cade Stover probably, but I I don't think Stover just takes the job. So get some tight end points there. These receivers now, because receiver, it's been a bit, right? Only 5 receivers. But let's review who they are. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, and Chris Godwin. So it's a pretty strong group once Godwin gets back. But now it's time to tack on some depth. So yeah, Reynolds, Tesla, Mitchell, Slayton, Orton, De'Ami Brown. Lots of options here. Lots and lots of options. Is Franklin gone? Yeah, he's gone. Okay. He's a really good pick right now, I think. He's going to be someone that can't be like, he was probably like, even on DraftKings, I think less than 20% drafted. I don't have that number, but that's just that would be my guess. And so, yeah, I think paying 16th round pick for him is fine. All right, let's see. Okay, let's get some more questions going. All right, this is a clarification on the expensive combo thing. Commanders backs with expensive Buka, because those are guys that earlier in the 8th round of Buka draftees didn't have access to. Oh, I like that actually. I thought you were going the other way. Yeah, you're like, I'm paying up for a Buka, but I have this dude you didn't even know about. I kind of like it. Yeah. Coming back to earth with normal people, questions like that Gibbs one is so jarring. And what you mean here is people who haven't been drafting nonstop since May. No offense to people asking about Gibbs. Almost really offense to us for drafting since May. Had someone in a redraft league who thought the B-Rob trade didn't make sense because Jordan Mason was on the 49ers. Yeah. It's different, right? People coming in. Sometimes those questions are kind of clarifying, though, because there can be like a groupthink element to the best ball community. So sometimes you get those questions and you're like, yeah, well, why are we taking that guy there? I don't feel that way about Gibbs, though. I'm pretty psyched about him. How you feeling with the 4-hour slows? So I've got 2 monitors set up, and not here, but I've got a little like converted shed that I use as an office. I've got 2 monitors set up there, and I go double sidekick, so I'm just like firing in picks. Like I can get, because look, I don't have that much time. I'm trying to write the legendary running back article and everything, so I'm just like just firing through. Do you already know your draft slot with Gretch? We are at the 102 tonight. Join us over on Ship Chasing. We're going to be drafting a main event with Ben Gretch. Going to be very, very fun. Samo Jennings, high 20%. Yeah, hopefully he comes back soon. B-Rob should go after Garendo. I think before, because he's healthy. That's where I'm at on it. It's definitely murky, though. Whoever gets fan wins the draft. Many are saying it's true. Sean Siegel is one of them. Any thoughts on Rice and where you'd take him? I'm down to take Rice in the 6th. Where did he go here? Rice went in the 6th. So yeah, I mean, had Rice been here, I still would have taken Waddle, to be honest. But if Waddle was gone, I would have taken him over Myers or Olave. All right, A.D. Mitchell is one of my favorite wide receiver clicks on the board. Juwan Johnson is another stab at tight end. Pat Fryermuth's another stab at tight end. But we only have 5 receivers here, so I'm going to go ahead and get Mitchell. I love taking A.D. Mitchell. He's had a really strong training camp. I don't know exactly how it happens. It feels a little Dontavian Wicksy last year. But Wicks actually did lead them in targets. It was just that he was overpriced. And Mitchell isn't overpriced. Josh Reynolds is kind of an eat your vegetables pick. But man, look at that ADP. Let's see what the Fields guy's doing. Because he's like a 20th round dude. I don't, even the 19th feels early. Just as an eat your vegetables chaperone. Where did Fields go? Fields was taken here, 9-10. He just took him unstacked. He got Henderson. He did take Taylor. Okay. So he might be thinking about stacking. Didn't do too much Patriots stuff, but he has Henderson, Mason Taylor, Fields. There's some, let's see. He got Lawrence with Brian Thomas. Yeah, so this is a stacking minded drafter. Which might be a reason to take Reynolds. Wilson, MVS, Booty, Renfro. Yeah, I'm going to take Reynolds. I could use a seventh receiver who plays. Not the most fun click in the world, but he's literally a starter. And I have Godwin missing a big chunk of time here. Even if he comes back like, week 5, I could use a little bit more wide receiver depth until then. So I think it's a decent use of a 19th round pick given the build. Recapping real quick before the final pick: CeeDee Lamb, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill. Then I grabbed Waddle later. Then I grabbed Tua. Breece Hall was really torn between him and Pickens to do the Cowboys double. Ended up timing out on Hall right as I decided to take Pickens. But I always like to take Breece Hall, so happy to have him. David Montgomery, kind of a tier break at receiver here. Jennings I like, but as I was mentioned before, someone I'm trying to push around to the 8th. Jordan Addison sometimes comes back to the 8th. So I like breaking the tide of the running back there. Dak Prescott, get the stack. Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, second bring back along with Terry McLaurin. Chris Godwin, I pushed, grabbed Bill, and still got Godwin, so that was nice. Tua, just kind of decided I was getting too cute if I pushed him and ended up missing out on Luther Burden, who went the very next pick. So pushing him didn't work. Higgins gone. So I just took Trey Benson as a contingent play and maybe someone who can earn more over the course of the year. Cam Ward is a third quarterback, a little bit of an upside swing. Someone who can add points if Tua stays healthy, and still, nice to have a guy who can fill in case Tua misses a little time, or Dak, of course. Or just, as these guys have some inconsistent weeks. Dylan Sampson, running back upside there, and then rip off 3 straight tight ends. This last pick here, probably be a tight end. Although Johnson, yeah, Fant's like legitimately the best tight end click. So that's bad. That's bad. Let me see here. Oof. What do we got? Is there anything I'm missing at tight end? Nope. I mean, yeah. I don't know. This feels like capitulation. What's the point? Got Schultz, Fannin, Conquo. Is there like other dudes who are appealing in any way? Rashard Smith, something, but I don't really need the running back. I got 6 running backs. Took Achane. What about Jalen Lane? Haven't taken much Lane. He's going to be super undrafted. And a bring back on the Dak stuff. And I don't know. Yeah, it's probably better to just take another crack at tight end, but I got Harold Fannin. What do I need? I'm good at 2. I could have stopped at 2. I don't need Noah Fant. AJ Barner. Yeah, I mean, they're in a 3-way split though in Seattle, so I don't know. Henderson you're saying Travion Henderson just went 14th and DK Millie? What a sight. I got to get more of these in. I got to make sure to max this. If the Dolphins are good, I cooked. Yeah. Unfortunately, it probably won't be, but what if they are? Do you think Etienne or Breece gets traded, blowing up somebody else's room? I don't think Breece gets traded. I really, really don't. I think they're committed to the 3 running back idea, which sucks for especially the beginning of the season, but I don't think it leads. I don't think it's them like being out on Breece. I think they think committees are cool and fun. And he's a part of that committee. All right, so we got Fant, Disley, Kmet at the top of the sidekick. That's probably the better move. But I'm going to go Jalen Lane. building on a strong camp from him. A bring back elements by third commander. So I've got that bet on the Commanders having a really strong season, and that rookie wide receiver who maybe scores a touchdown in the final week and wins you $2 million. You know, it can happen. So yeah, let's review the team. CeeDee Lamb, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, David Montgomery, Dak Prescott, Corey Krosky-Merritt, Chris Godwin, Tua Tagovailoa, Trey Benson, Cam Ward, Dylan Sampson, Chig Okonkwo, Harold Fannin, Dalton Schultz, A.D. Mitchell, Josh Reynolds, Jalen Lane. Bit thin at tight end for sure, but otherwise a really, really strong team, I think. Clear bet on the Dolphins, clear bet on the Commanders, clear bet on the Cowboys. Bring back with Chris Godwin. He's healthy in week 17. He's scoring points. And then, yeah, little mini bet on the Browns not being a total disaster. So, yeah, overall, I think a very fun team. Hopefully the tight end situation doesn't sink it. It easily could. The Dolphins could sink it too, but kind of a boom bust team, but in, a very top heavy tournament. Nice to have some boom. All right, that'll do it for this season. This season, not this season. This episode, this stream, but I'll be back, as I mentioned, in an hour with Ben Gretsch and Pete Overzet on the Ship Chasing channel. Hope to see you over there. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that's the final stream of the week for me on DraftKings as part of the DK partnership for DraftKings Best Ball Week. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll mention real quick, I had a free article this morning on 5 players that I'm taking the Q tag discount on. I'll also have my legendary running back article out pretty soon, working on writing that. Hope to have that to you as soon as I can. It's a fun one. I think you guys will really enjoy it. And that's always free as well, because I want the people to see the future just like I have. All right. See you next time.